Hi everybody, welcome back. Happy New Year. And we'll get right into it. I have got some good ideas of things that I want to do this year. I've realised that some of them are going to be requiring some sort of clothing protection, as I want to do some stuff with bleach and paints and all of that. Most of what I do is not that mucky, but I do get, like, thread loves me. I walk around like a thread monkey most of the time. So I've decided I'm going to combine several things all together and make something that will mean that I can wear my gorgeous clothes and still be feeling kind of good and not ruin stuff. So I'm going to make an apron. Highly original, that's me. I'm going to use some dead stock denim that I've got. I've had it a while, so I want a sort of bodice piece, and then we need a very long waistband, but it doesn't need ties on the end. I've already decided that. And then we're literally going to have, obviously this is the bit that wraps all the way around, so this is going to look a bit strange. So we're literally going to have twice whatever this is, because this is going to be pleated. I was going to gather it, but it's denim, it's thick, and so it's going to need pleating. And then the idea is this will wrap all the way around. There'll be a strap part that I will stitch to the shoulder and then stitch to this waistband part, sort of like that. So that's the back there. Obviously my head will be there. Now I did look online to see what it was called, and some people call it a French apron, but I think that's the one. It's just a straight piece of, it's just like one piece of fabric and then it's cut like a shaping, and then with the crossover straps at the back. That wouldn't work for me, and that doesn't work for anybody with a fuller figure anywhere. Like if you've got curvy hips or curvy bust or whatever, it's not going to work because the straps are always too short on the back. That's the problem I have anyway. So I want to go for something that looks kind of cute and pretty at the end of it. So that's the basic plan. And then the fabric I'm going to use is dead stock denim. So this was some end of line stuff that I bought ages ago. So I am proposing that I use this side for the main body of the apron, and that I use this side for the patch pockets. So I'm going to go and stick this in the washing machine. I shall just put it on a standard wash. I'll be back when it's been washed. It's the next day. I've washed the fabric, I have ironed it, and I have measured the fabric. It is 2 meters long and the width is 137 centimeters or 54 inches wide. And I know that I want to make my waistband a meter, because if I'm gonna use this, I think gathered down to a meter would be quite nice, or pleated down to a meter, whatever I'm going to do. I can use the width of the fabric from the selvage here, and then use the width as the length of the skirt. I need to ascertain how long I want the skirt. I could even make it more full if I wanted to. If I didn't make it that long, I could cut this in half. So what's half of 54? 27 inches long. I'm just going to stand up, you can't see, but I'm going to do the waist slightly high. On me, it's just slightly below my knee, but then I've got quite long legs and I'm doing a slightly high waist. Okay, I think I need the length to be about 32. 32 inches comes to here, which leaves like this amount of fabric. Enough for the patch pockets later on, the bib itself and the straps. Out of the rest of this there'll be plenty. The next thing I need to do then is to just literally cut the skirt off. So I'll just fold this all up and then mark it up with some chalk and literally cut it off. So I was just seeing where this mark comes, and although I've decided to go with it, I don't want it like right up here somewhere, so it's going to be down near the hem. And I also need to add in some seam allowance of about an inch for the top to stitch into the waistband. I don't know, maybe 2 inches for the bottom to turn a neat hem, maybe. So that's what I'm going to measure and cut in a minute. Okay, so I just cut out the rest of the bits and pieces, which I didn't talk about before. What you'll see if I've got left over is literally this. This is all that's left. So we'll make a couple of decent patch pockets out of that at a later date when I've got a chance to decorate them, and I'll film that and show you how to do it. So we'll not lose that, do not lose that. So I also worked out what I wanted the bib part to be. So I've measured this and it's 20 by 18. So the 20 is the bit that goes around my bust, and the 18 is the bit that goes from my shoulder to my waist. Now I've measured it as a slightly high waist anyway, so I think this is about 18.5 inches down, because there is also a waistband, so don't forget that you've got extra with the waistband. So I just need to decide what shape bib I want and how I want to finish it. So I was thinking about how to finish it, and I thought it might be kind of cute to finish it with a different fabric on the inside, so it would be like a double piece, but I didn't want to do 2 pieces of denim, and as it happens I probably could have squeezed out another one, but there might not have been enough left for pockets. I think I want to use just some nice cotton and offcut or something, but I can think about that when I show you how to cut this. So I'm literally just going to fold this in half. This is not a couture, so this is an apron, and it doesn't need to be brilliant. So this is the centre line here, and this is going to be the shoulder strap here. The shoulder strap will be a finished size, because it will have, I guess, like a facing, like the lining is basically what we're going to do with this other piece of fabric. But I'm going to leave these open at the top so I can push the straps in and then stitch it across, and it'll all be nice and finished and what have you, hopefully. That's the plan. So I think they need to be, because the straps I've made, I cut them all, like the waistband and the straps, I cut them all 2.5 inches, hoping that's enough. So if we allowed this to be 2.5 inches as well, that would give us, I wanted to end up with a 2-inch strap. 2.5 inches would be enough if I did a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So I think for the bib, bodice, whatever, I think I will make that a 1/4 of an inch. The reason why I just drifted off for a moment there, thinking out loud, when I measured round the bust, from where I want it to where I want it on the other side is about 15 inches. So if I divide 15 in half, that's 7.5 to there. So that's the outer edge of the strap. So that would be the finish point of it. But obviously I need to allow some seam allowance with that. So I'm going to make it 7 3/4 to the finish size, because that'll get turned underneath, so that'll disappear. And then of course I need to allow 2.5 inches for the strap itself. So that gives me a seam allowance of 1/4 of an inch on either side. So you can see these 2 lines. This is the centre here. This is the strap, and this is the bit that's going to be sort of shaped, I suppose. No, change my mind. We're going to take this line down here and do it in a straight line. I'm going to cut that off. That's already got seam allowance in it. So then I need to just measure from my shoulder to where I want the cutaway bit to be. And I think it's about 8.5 inches. It'll be different for everyone. Trust me, it's going to be so different for someone else. I would expect most people's to be a little bit wider than this, and also for the cutaway part to make the shape of the bib to be a lot lower. I would be expecting it to be 9 or 10 inches, not 8.5. So just everyone's measurements are different. That's straight down for a strap, so very square. So that's what it would look like square. So I'll just cut this open now and cut all this off. So we've got a bib there. So we now have a bib, a skirt, some straps and a waistband. You might have noticed that I cut out 2 waistbands and then I was cutting them to the right length. So I've done these to 104 centimetres. So the 4 centimetres is the seam allowance at either end for the waistband. And the reason why I cut out 2 was because I think it will be easier to fix this on and hide the raw edges So the bodice will have all its raw edges hidden anyway. What I'm proposing that I do is that I stitch these on separately. So if I stitch the right sides together and then turn it over, so that will be encased in there, and then I'll get this one and stitch the right sides together just along there, turn it over, and then I can press in all of these edges the same as the seam allowance, and then top stitch the entire thing all the way along. It just means that I don't have to stitch through quite so much denim. Although this is not heavyweight denim, it's still denim, and my machine is known for fainting capacity. I mean, honestly, she needs her own fainting couch. For the straps, I'm hoping a metre and a bit is enough, because I want to do these double. If I found the fabric to line the bib with, I could always use that to line the straps with as well. That would look kind of cute, wouldn't it? So I better find some fabric. Okay, I found some fabric, which you've just seen me cutting out. So it was this. So I've cut 2 pieces for the straps. I've cut the bodice part here that I was just having a quick trim to make sure that with my 1/4 inch seam allowance that I'm not going to slip over the edge and not have anything to turn through. And we're off to the sewing machine, so I will give you a quick rundown of what I'm going to do at the sewing machine. The stitching list goes as follows. To stitch these 2 pieces together, leaving it open at the top of the shoulder and at the bottom. There's no need to stitch that shut, it's going to be encased in a waistband, so we might as well cut down on the bulk a bit. So we're just literally going to stitch around here and then down each side, and then I can turn it through and press it. So that's the bib. The straps, I could have those dark as well, the dark blue on the back. So these need to be stitched together, right sides together, so that's now the right side with that on the inside. And I'll just pin these at the top. And then the first thing to do on the skirt part is I want to use this bit to gather it because it's slightly softer. So that would be, I think gathered. What would pleats look like? Let's see. I mean, pleats would be nice, but pleats would also take up quite a lot of fabric. So I'll try gathering. So what I'll do is this is nice and easy because there's even like a line on it that I can follow. So I will be stitching a gathering line down this line here, and then also about a 1/4 inch in from that. There'll be 2 gathering lines so that I can get nice even gathers. It's easier to do it with two rows of stitching, and you can get much more uniform gathers. And the way I'm going to do that is I will use the longest straight stitch that I can so that it's as loose as possible, but I don't want to stitch this by hand, it would be too hard on my hands. So I will put 2 gathering lines down there, but before I gather it up, I'm also going to hem and edge the sides so that it's finished before it gets stitched into the waistband. So on the side I will cut them off straight, and then I will zigzag or overcast the edges, and then just fold in about 1/2 inch, and I'll do that by eye and then stitch that down. And then when both the sides are done, I will hem the bottom and I will iron in probably 1/2 inch and then turn it up. So probably the first thing I'll do is just neaten up this so I can take it all to the sewing machine and do it all in one go. So we're now ready to do the next few bits. I've put in the 2 rows of gathering stitches here and left the tails loose. So when you're doing that, don't do the reverse stitch. You don't want to fix this, you want this to be able to move. Before you gather anything though, you need to think about dividing it up into sections. So if you have a pattern, there'll be notches and cutouts and things to tell you where to line things up, but we haven't got a pattern. We're doing this just from 2 meters of fabric that you happen to have to make something. So I am dividing it up with a red pin, so that's the halfway point there, and then I will do quarters as well, and that's probably enough. It doesn't have to be absolutely spot on perfect, just as long as it's roughly divided up. And this is going to make it so much easier once you've done the gathering threads, where to get your gathers. So you know how much it's going to be gathered down to. It's going to be gathered down to 1 metre, so it's half the size of what it is at the moment. And that means you can spread all your gathers evenly between the pieces. So I've done that one. And so then I need to take one of the waistband pieces. You only need to divide one of them because we're only stitching one of them on, and then the other one will just fit on top of it. This is just over 1 metre because it's got some decent seam allowance in it, and I'm going to do exactly the same with this one as well. So just put in red pins on the halfway points and the quarter there. So now what we're doing is we're preparing all the pieces ready to assemble it. So this is the bib. So most important here, remember to snip this corner. We're going to turn these through, but they're quite difficult. I'm just going to use this massive safety pin. So I'm just going to pop this down until I can grab hold of it. So there's one strap. Obviously this all needs pressing, and that's the inside there. Let's just repeat the same thing again. I'm just sticking it on there. Make sure it's got plenty of fabric that it's not going to pull out of the fabric, and just post that in there, and then gather it up a bit, and then you should be able to reach it from the inside, which is there. Then turn it inside out, or right sides out I should say, and then just gently pull it out. So here's the bib part. So all the raw edges are on the inside now, so we haven't got any of that faffing about with turning over the denim and all of that. So there's the bib. I shall go and press that in a minute, and then these should sit nice and flat. They're not too bad anyway, where it's just one corner. They're sitting nice and flat, and it looks pretty good, doesn't it? Nice and professional. Yes! We have a strap. So just once more, and that's probably the most horrible bit out of all of this. Right, I'm not filming the other one, so I can swear to my heart's content. So I've gathered up half of it. I turned the other strap through, and it wasn't as bad as I thought. I must have run out of thread because it wasn't all stitched together, but there's enough for a strap. So as a guide, we know that we're gathering this down to 1 metre roughly. So each section will be 25 centimetres. So that gives you a clue as to whether you've got enough gathers in your section. So let's just measure that. So that's at 24, so I just need to ease that a little bit that way. That's nearly at 25. So let's look at this one. So that's just needs pulling in a bit with these 2 threads here. And I'm going to show you how I did it. So I think that's probably about 25 now. And it's just as well I washed it because I've got blue fingers already. To start off the gathering, just turn it this way and make sure you can see. Where we've left the tails, there's 2 threads for each line of stitching. So there's a top thread and then there's a bottom thread. And we want the 2 top threads. So you take the 2 top threads in your hand and you just kind of ignore the bottom threads. And then gripping the fabric firmly, you just start to pull it along the thread, and it will start to move into gathers. It starts off a little bit awkward. It sometimes gets stuck on threads and stuff, but it gets easier. How do I explain it? Don't yank it because you could break the thread. Just kind of smooth it firmly, but don't like pull it like that, because I have got one of the threads is definitely sticking on something here, but it's starting to come through. And the other half was just like this. You just keep smoothing it up here, and you can smooth it all the way along to the middle if you want to, but certainly to the first pin. So we did all that gathering and it's gone to nothing already. So when we start doing it again, you just keep coiling this around your hands. You see it's starting to get easier now. It's almost like the thread makes a sort of memory through the fabric of what you're trying to do. So I shall carry on gathering this. Okay, so I've stitched the waistband, so that's all ready to go. Here's the bib, it's all been pressed, and I've just pinned the first strap in at a slight angle. I'm hoping that's right. So what I did was I sort of put it in like that and just bent that bit round and then just pushed it in, because at the moment I'm just trying to get the right position, and then we'll tidy it up when I've tried it on. So I just need to press the other strap here. So I'm just pressing them open, I suppose. I have to say, when I saw the skirt, my heart sank a bit. I wasn't going for Julie Andrews' Sound of Music, but that appears to be what it looks like. At the end of the day, I want an apron that looks half decent, but it doesn't matter if it gets covered in artist splat. So, and then I folded these end bits in as well, just giving them a quick press, just so all the raw edges are on the inside. And so this one, I'm just going to fold a little corner on like that, sort of push it in at a right angle, I suppose. It is just about a right angle. So it curves, so it's going to sit on my shoulder and then curve around to the back. So there's the bib anyway, with its straps on. I just need to fold this in half, find the midpoint here and stick a, you guessed it, red pin in it, so that we can put this on the apron part in the right place. Right sides together at this point. So there's our red pin, there's the mark, and that's where that goes, like so. I'm going to put the other piece of waistband along here, and then I'm going to stitch these two end bits, and I'm going to leave a gap. That was the whole point of doing it like this, so I could put the straps in. So I'm going to stitch from about here and just leave myself a bit of space. And this just means it's a bit less sewing. I don't have to do it several times. I'm going to stitch those two end pieces together first, and then I will pin this in place along here, and then we will just about have something to try on. Okay, so I stitched it all together. These are all the bits, so it looks like it's wrong, but it isn't. That's supposed to be like that. There's the bib, there's the waistband attached to the apron front. There's the bib in between the two bits of waistband. So this is the end part that I stitched together first. I'm just going to trim that down a bit. So I'm literally going to do a little magic trick. I'm just going to turn that through like so. And we have, apart from where the straps are going, which is this bit here, the straps will go inside that bit, and then it will be stitched all the way across here, and it will hold everything firm in place. So I'm just going to slide a little pin into here just to keep that out the way, and then this bit literally just tucks up into there like that, and then this might need a little bit of coaxing, but this will be stitched on top of here. Now, because it's denim, I'm probably going to have to slip stitch this by hand. I don't think my sewing machine's going to go through that number of layers. Anyway, so it's come out, that's pretty good. So it'll just be that on the inside, and it'll tidy it all up. And then here's the bib front stitched in. I told you it was a bit Julie Andrews, didn't I? Okay. So this is the apron. I really love the way it looks. I think it's really cute, and I'm so glad I kept this dark band on here. I think it looks super cute. Slightly distracting because I wasn't thinking about what I was wearing today, so I'm wearing a pinafore underneath that I made myself, so it looks like this is part of the apron. It isn't. See, It feels really nice. It's heavy, but it feels nice. It feels comfy. There's a bit of me that's wishing I made this into a proper pinafore now. This is totally the sort of thing I'd wear. Obviously not with the side missing. I'm gonna have to wait till someone comes home to help me just do the straps. I cannot think how to do it. I really did measure them. I thought they were the same, and one of them is about, I don't know, 7 inches longer than the other. But do you see what I mean? The Julie Andrews thing. I look like I'm about to run across the hill singing. Thanks as always for joining me. I've got so many things planned this year. Welcome to all my lovely, lovely subscribers, my new ones, my old ones, everybody, and those of you that leave comments. I do read them, and I see a few of you that leave comments on nearly every video, and it really means such a lot to me. Just because I don't answer doesn't mean I don't care or I haven't read them. I have. And I try and answer some things. If you want to help support me and the channel further, you can make a donation on Ko-fi, or you can soon be able to follow my Linktree to my PayPal, which I am going to be doing on Instagram, so probably in the next couple of weeks, so keep hopping on there. I'm going to try and do a little bit more with Instagram this year. I might even do a live at some point. I don't know if that's something anybody would be interested in. Let me know. But thanks as always, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.